racist. He shouldn't have done it. He learned from it. He's moved on from it. How did he not give that answer? What's your take on that?
Well, I don't think he can give that answer. There's no way that he could say of his father-in-law that in any instance he had done something that was racist in nature, though I think, and this is a word that I am very reluctant to use, but I have to say that with regard to that whole birther controversy, that had race at its base, and President Trump knew what he was doing when he talked about President Obama in that way. Why Kushner doesn't have the ability to do that, I think, is obvious. He simply cannot agree with the notion that I think is just factually there, that his father-in-law engaged in an activity that was inappropriately based in race.
You know, I get calls on a regular basis from people who know him and are around him in the White House and say, you know, he's a nice guy. Give him a break. He's trying to help out his father-in-law. It just doesn't work for me because it's not like he stepped into the mom and pop shop that the Trump family was running. You know, he's up there in the seat of power being asked to do things he has no experience in. But one thing he should know by now, AG, is they ask him in the interview, well, if you got another email like that one you got during the campaign to get dirt from the Russians, what would you do? He says, I don't know. Now, doesn't his security clearance mandate that he report something like that, let alone his common sense?
Both in terms of your security clearance, your common sense, and your fundamental patriotism. If a foreign power offers to give you information that would be useful in a campaign, I would think that the reflexive, instinctive reaction that you would have would be to call the FBI, to call somebody in authority, somebody in law enforcement, somebody in the national security sphere to report that, not to take advantage of it. And the fact that he is unable to say that even now is really kind of breathtaking. It's really kind of breathtaking.
Looking at the Democrat field of 23-24 right now, you wishing you jumped in?
There are times when I have pangs about that, but one thing I would say is that if I were running, I would be signing this pledge, which is what we're asking all of the candidates to do.
Have any done it?
Sign this pledge. We have gotten favorable responses from a number of them, but we want them to sign this pledge to end gerrymandering and to end map manipulation. My expectation is that all of them will sign it, but we're also asking regular citizens to sign this pledge as well.
Well, that'll be easy because they don't know what citizens want the game to be fair. When you're in it, then you start to get things. You said favorable responses. Has anyone signed the pledge yet?
No one has signed the pledge yet. We have not actually formally given the pledge, physically given the pledge to anybody, but I'm sure we have heard in their rollouts, to be fair, Mayor Pete certainly talked about this, Bernie Sanders has talked about this, Beto O'Rourke talked about this, all during their rollouts. We want people to be more vociferous, more vocal about the need for a fair redistricting process in 2021. I'm sure that the vice president will sign this as well. I know him, and I'm confident that he'll sign this pledge.
What do you think of that field?
It's a good field. You know, I think we've got a lot of qualified candidates.
Too many?
Well, yeah, at this point, we have too many now. I think, through the debates and through the Iowa, New Hampshire caucuses, it'll get winnowed down, I think, pretty dramatically. I think there are probably 7, 8 people there who have a realistic chance.